Today's video is for the person that's considering launching a business, or you've already decided to launch your business and you've already taken those steps to do so. Today's video, I'm going to unpack the one single biggest mistake after 20 years of being an entrepreneur, being self-employed, that I've seen so many people try to skip over. And yet you cannot skip this step when it comes to launching and growing your business. And here it is. Here's the principle. Your business will grow to the extent that you do. Your business will grow to the extent that you do personally. What does that mean? And here's what I mean by that is that how you manage your time, how you manage your talent, how you manage your schedule, all of that now falls on you as the business owner. There's nobody telling you what to do with your time and what to do on your day-to-day operations. And that freedom could be the exact reason you end up going out of business. So today's titled, Being the CEO of Your Life, because you can't lead your business until first you learn to lead yourself. So let's jump in and get started. Being a business owner, here's the challenge and the opportunity, that it's like looking in a mirror. What I mean by that is your business is going to reflect you back to you, just like you looking in a mirror. So if you're mismanaging your finances, it's gonna be revealed. If you're not managing your time, doing the highest and most important things, right? If you're not managing your time and stewarding your time well, that is going to be revealed. Let's start with the money side of things, because there's three things that come to mind that I wrote down I want to share with you. Number one, your beliefs about money will surface. So if you feel guilty, if you feel some type of mixed way about charging a fee to a client or potential client, when it comes to that conversation with them, if you feel some type of way inside about that, where you're not confident in the transformation that you bring with your product or service about serving others, how you feel about money and what you believe about money, it's going to come to the surface. And your beliefs about money will surface when you set your first price, your throat tightens. I'll never forget when it came to my real estate business that I launched back in 2007, that I remember sitting down with the first client that I had, my grandparents' neighbors actually, and they needed to sell a house. And I did the math, and I remember the lump in my throat, the feeling that I had when I told them the fee to hire for me for my services back then. I think it amounted to like $21,000. Well, the reality was that amount of money, that's almost what I was used to making in a whole year's period. And so it challenged me to sit across from that kitchen table to explain to these potential clients what I was going to charge for them and their service. Now, here's the thing about that. The crazy thing is I didn't even get to keep all that money. So it's not like I was pocketing that money, because we know that every business, there's going to be sometimes if you're with another company or have a business partner, there's going to be some type of commission split potentially. And we all know that when it comes to real estate sales, it gets chopped up, meaning you have taxes, you have business expenses, you have all these fees that come out. So even though I didn't get to keep all that money, it challenged me to have the pricing conversation with folks. So one of the ways that you will be growing personally so your business can grow is going to become, you're going to have to become more aware about what you believe and what you think about money. It's going to show up, especially when it comes to you talking about the fees that you charge for your service or your products. Number two, confidence. I bet there's going to be an opportunity for you, just like there was for me, to increase your level of confidence. And that's one of those things, I wish there was a way to fast forward it to where you could skip the process and you could just get confidence overnight. But the reality is that confidence is not developed in one day or one moment in time. It's developed not in one day, but daily, meaning day after day. As you keep those promises to yourself, day after day, that's where confidence begins to build. There's no fast forwarding, there's no shortcuts, there's no easy quick fix to that. Building confidence is a journey. You're going to have to be patient because it just takes time. It shows when you compare yourself online and you decide you're not good enough to compete. It doesn't matter what industry or what product you have, there's always other people that are probably doing something similar. Even though I'm sure you have your unique style or flavor of doing things, the bottom line is people will have choices. And I find that as I became more confident in what I do, people chose me. They didn't choose me necessarily because I knew everything about the industry I'm in, but they chose me because they trusted me. And one of the ways that you establish trust or rapport with people is going to be by showing up confident in your product or your service, whatever that looks like for you, depending on the industry or the business that you're in. And I would recommend to the person that's in the launch phase of your business, maybe you're still on the newer side of things, and I would encourage you to lean into the expert of those around you. Meaning that if you have a coach, a mentor, the person that you can call and get input from that has a ton of experience or maybe even decades of experience in the industry you're in, I would encourage you to lean into those folks and borrow that confidence. Meaning that here's the worst case scenario. I remember when I launched my business, I was so afraid that in having conversations with people, they were going to ask me a question that I didn't have the answer to. That's it. My fear was that they would ask me a question that I didn't have the answer to. But here's what I know now. After those 20 years, here's the worst case scenario. You know what you would do in that moment? You say, here's practically what you do. I want to tell you right now what that is. That's a great question. I want to bounce that off of a mentor of mine. I want to do some more research on that one and get back to you. Is that okay? That's exactly the script that you could use. And over the past 20 years, I've never had somebody offended. I've never had somebody not work with me because of that. Here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to act like you know the answer when you don't know the answer. So the first area that you're going to be challenged to grow in being a business owner is going to be, number one, your beliefs about money. Number two, how would you describe your level of confidence? Are you confident in your skill set, your mindset? That's going to be challenged. So you're gonna have to embrace that, bottom line. And the last thing in this section that I want to share when it comes to how being a business owner is going to reflect back who you are, good, bad, or indifferent. It's going to be discipline. What are you doing when nobody's watching? It's tested when nobody's watching, and when you spend 3 hours of researching instead of doing. Being a business owner requires taking action. I like to say taking action is where the magic happens. We can't just, in scripture it says, don't be just a hearer of the word, you have to be a doer. You have to take action, meaning that once you go to that seminar, once you listen to that podcast, once you go to that conference, once you have that coaching call, you have to take action, meaning you put into practice what you just learned. One of the things that I've done over the years, I've made it a point to grow. I've always been a curious person, going back to as young as I can remember. I always just had a natural curiosity about life. Matter of fact, I was sitting in the living room. I'm on my back porch right now, and I could look and see the 3 big windows in my living room where there's 2 chairs on a little table. And yesterday morning it was raining outside, and I was sitting there, and my son, who's 14, Matthew, was sitting across from me. And I'm just sitting outside looking in the backyard, watching it pour down rain because we had a thunderstorm warning, tornado watch, all that going on. And I was just thinking, and I told my son Matthew, I said, I wonder, do raindrops fall the same distance apart every time it rains? And I thought, well, probably not, but what does it depend on? What determines the distance between raindrops? What's my point? My point is I've found myself always being a natural, curious person. So when it comes to webinars, trainings, coach, mentors, conferences, or even if you're just meeting up with somebody to learn more about the industry you're in, hold that thought. One of the most beneficial things that I did looking back in the first 12 months of my business, I found 3 people that were crushing it in the industry that I was new to, and I invited them to go to take them to lunch. I gave them an invite. I said, hey, I would love to take you to lunch and learn from you. Would you be my guest? Would you be willing to sit down with me for 30 or 40 minutes at Longhorn Steakhouse? I'll buy whatever drink you want, whatever lunch you want, my treat, steak, lobster, whatever you want. I would like to learn from you. And you know what? All 3 people that I asked said yes. And I took my notebook and I showed up as a student coming from curiosity, asking them questions about the industry and what they've learned over the years. And you know what a blessing it was. Not only the conversation, but all three of those guys were so generous. They ended up buying my lunch, which I'm so thankful for, because it was a stretch for me to offer to buy somebody's lunch, especially then in the launch phase of my business, being in my early 20s. I didn't really have much of a budget for that, and yet did it by faith. And come to find out, it was a great use of time. They appreciated that I looked up to them, and they were willing to share so many lessons that they've learned over the years. Now back to the discipline and taking action. I want to close that loop. You don't want to, you always, in conversations with others, like those conversations that I had with the three gentlemen I went out to lunch with back then, it would be a mistake to go out to lunch with them. Think about this. It would be a mistake to go to lunch with them, take notes, find out what they did well, what they've learned over the years of being a business owner and all of that. What a shame it would be to do all of that and not put into action at least one thing that I took away from each one of those conversations. So whether it's a conversation over lunch, coffee, or going to a seminar, here's my pro tip. If you in your journal would write down what came to mind that you could take action on to actually apply in your business as a result of hearing what you just heard, and then take action, do that thing within the next 24 hours, that's going to help set you apart, because it's not so much one thing that you do over time. In a book that I recently written, at the back of the book, I give a 90-day plan to systematically stay in touch with past clients, family, and friends in order to build a business. Because if there's one thing I know about business, it's I know how to build a referral-based business. It's not just sending the handwritten card or sending the birthday card or the home anniversary card or the whatever it is. It's not those individual things by themselves that are so amazing, but when you take those small things done consistently over time, that begins to set you apart. So your business, I guarantee you, is going to challenge what you believe about money, what you believe about you, your confidence level on the inside. And then the third part's going to be that discipline. Are you going to be taking action, or are you just going to be a student and never just be a learner and not actually apply anything that you learn? So here's what I want you to know in today's video, that this growth that you feel, this inward tension, this discomfort you feel, that is normal. I experience that. Everybody that I've worked with over the years, or any business owner launching a business, will experience that. It's not punishment. Here's what it is. It's an invitation to grow, because growth happens out of your comfort zone. If it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. I'm going to say that again. If it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. And if you have been an employee the majority of your life, and now you're stepping into entrepreneurship, even if it's a side hustle or side business, get ready, put on your seatbelt, put on your 5-point harness, because it's going to be uncomfortable. But the outcome that you desire, whether it's financial freedom in order to buy back your time, to provide a better life to your family, to be able to serve your community, to be able to give more, whatever that driving force in you is, it's going to cause you to be uncomfortable. I just want you to know that right out of the gate. So embrace it. Don't run from it. Embrace it. This isn't punishment. It's an invitation, I believe, to grow into the person that you truly desire to be. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. By the way, if you've tuned in this so far, I would love to hear from you in the comments. What season are you in when it comes to growing your business? Are you just in the idea mode, meaning that you still work for somebody, you have some ideas about business that you actually haven't launched yet? Is that the phase that you're in? Are you in the launch phase, meaning within the past few months or the past maybe 12 months or so, you've launched your business? I was talking to a gentleman yesterday who has an in-person office when it comes to being a counselor here in the Kansas City area, and he just launched his business 2 months ago. And so think about the growth required, because he shared with me, Chris, this is what he said. He said, Chris, I'm stepping out by faith because my wife and I, is what he's sharing. He said his wife and I have been used to the income from the job that he recently let go. After all these years of decades of working for this local community college, he said, you know what? I'm done here. He put in his 2 weeks notice and he's out. And the point is that if you're in that season of launching your business, it's go time. I want to encourage you, or maybe even challenge you, to subscribe to this. And then next week's episode, we're going to pick up right where we left off. And I really want to focus in. I'm not going to say this is a series, but I'm really going to take the next 8 or 10 weeks and really unpack some things that, looking back over the past 20 years of being an entrepreneur, that now I understand that are really mission critical for someone that's considering launching a business or in the launch phase. And rest assured that your business will grow to the extent that you do. And welcome to entrepreneurship. Put on your seatbelt. It's going to be a wild ride. And yet I trust that if on the inside you know this is the season, now's the time for you to make that change. I don't think it's coincidence that you've landed on my channel. Welcome, and we'll see you next week.